It has a high-capacity, long-haul data transmission lines, network nodes that connect major cities and regions globally. So the content delivery networks are playing a very crucial role in terms of transferring data, in terms of making people get alive in terms of this particular content factors. Some of the key challenges is the constant evolvement of threat that's coming over the landscape, shortage of skilled professional and complexity of the IT environments that are coming into picture. Good morning and welcome to the second session in Cybersecurity BBA 5th semester Unit 1, where we're going to talk about Introduction to Cybersecurity. Previous class, we were talking about the basic concepts of cybersecurity, what are all the components and how does the cyberspace evolve. Now in this session, we're going to start with the internet infrastructure. We're going to talk about the data transfer and governance. Now, internet as a matter of substance, as a matter of governance, requires a lot of policies on how do you use it, what are all the factors that we need to keep in mind. So this involves a complex ecosystems of technology, protocols, policies, and it needs to ensure a very, very smooth flow of data across the global network. While maintaining the security and privacy regulatory compliance, it's also critical that you see it across in the global network. There needs to be a seamless exchange of data between the device and the system, plus the elements and technologies that work to facilitate this data. So overall, we see that internet has got many components which have to work in tandem so that you get that internet seamlessly delivered to the device that you are using. Now you can see this entire picture where you will see that the carrier network, the data center, the direct connect to the business, the carrier, the main distribution center, the entire diagram shows that how the traverse of the network that starts moving in with the providers, the various channels and aspects through which the system is being carried forward. So we have the data center, we have the direct connectivity to the business, and then we are taking it to the next level as far as possible. Followed by which the internet infrastructure for the data transfer and the governance that comes into picture. Internet backbone. It has a high capacity, long haul data transmission lines, network nodes that connect major cities and regions globally. The connections enable data to traverse in long directions. And when we talk about internet service providers, like how we have today, the Bharti Airtel, the Jio, so many people who are providing it, they are responsible for managing the inter-network infrastructure, and also they're going to work on in terms of the last mile connection. Now what happens in India is that internet sometimes becomes a privilege for few, and for some people it really becomes very difficult. Rather, it becomes something like a magic for them to attain. Now, whenever we are talking about the major cities in India, the internet has been working very well. But once you start going to remote centers or to the hilly regions, the internet work does not work such good. So that's where it becomes very, very important for the ISP, the internet service providers, to go for the last mile connection to see that all the people in the country are connected with the internet. Now moving on to data centers, they are facilities equipped with servers and storage system that store and process data. Very, very crucial role that they play. Why? Because hosting of websites, application and cloud services. Data center itself is a very big business. Why? Because we have millions and zillions of data that needs to be managed for the company, for the retail, for the individuals that we are talking about. So data centers are becoming very, very important because they facilitate the entire storage service across the globe, followed by which the peering points, that is the internet traffic, is exchanged through the peering points, which is physical location where different networks connect to one another. The internet exchange points are important because through them, the internet is going to be exchanged. That's where the point through which the net gets connected, the intercoms work, the network is being connecting to the exchange altogether. So this entire concept of data, and when you talk about those exchange points, makes a lot of difference when we are talking about that governance standards. followed by which the internet infrastructure that as we are talking about, you can have a look in here, peering and transit that is working about. You see the peering backbone factors. You can see regional wise, the local wise, it's coming down. So everywhere there is an internet connectivity that goes on from one point to the next point to that. And then there's a peering that's starting across. There's a transit that happens that moves in from that of the regional, from one center to the another center, and then it goes on to the next level as far as possible. Now, the content delivery networks, these are servers that catch and deliver web content such as images, videos, web page from locations geographically closer to the end users. Nevertheless, today we are in a world of social media where images, videos, pictures have become the order of the day. You cannot have a mobile phone and say that you're out of social media. You are interconnected, and there's a lot of exchange of data that happens through images, music, videos, and so many other factors. So the content delivery networks are playing a very crucial role in terms of transferring data, in terms of making people get alive in terms of this particular content factors. Encryption and security, which becomes very important as usual. Why? Because technologies like the secured layers, they encrypt the data, they ensure that it remains confidential. The firewall detection system, anti-malware, all these systems are very, very important because they are going to protect your system altogether. So it becomes very, very important for all of us to understand this transport layer. Now, moving on from this particular slide, we need to also understand about before CDN and after CDN factors. Now, before CDN, you will start looking that there is not much of interconnectivity, but then once the content network comes in, it minimizes the original bandwidth, and then you can see that it's been shared among various people. Now, this is very important. Why? Because the bandwidth sharing is always a very important factor. You cannot keep on expanding your bandwidth just because the users are growing in. It becomes important for all of us to understand how the governance standard need to be mattered and how you need to manage those bandwidths so that you are able to deliver content to all the users across various regions. Now, you also see the internet infrastructure for data governance through the public key, private key. Now, this is the encryption. Now, it goes through a different key. There's a private key that comes as original text. That means you as a user will have your private key through which it is decrypted, and then you are able to read it. Now, that's exactly what we are doing in WhatsApp altogether. So you can message privately to a person. You're using the concept of public key and private key. The message gets decrypted and it is only being received to you. So that's exactly where this decryption formula works out to a very great extent. Followed by the routers and switches, they direct data packets into their intended destination. Routers determine the most efficient path for data to travel between networks. Very important. Quality of service, QoS mechanism, prioritize certain types of data to ensure optimal performance, real-time application like that of conferences, very, very important. And then we are going to talk about the regulatory policy framework that's coming into picture. So when you see all these things, you would be probably able to see how a router exactly works. So you can see the various systems that are being connected through the switch. The router then connects it across. So the connection of networks is being done through the router. When I'm showing you this pictorial image, I just want you to understand the router is the center point through which all these systems are getting connected. So now this is the key point. Now router will route all these systems across, saying that which is where the data flow is going into so that you get your connection online. Now, similarly, what is the regulatory framework? So we have the rules, we have the government authority coming into it, the TARA, the TRAI, which we call as the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, conformity assessment bodies, classification based on potential risk. We talk about quality management, we talk about involving and assessing the clinical safety, allowance to the market, surveillance system, and device in the market. Now, the whole lot of internet, when we are talking about, has got a lot of rules and regulations to be followed, and there are several government bodies who are involved in terms of governing the various practices towards the users. Now, what happens in India is that we are very, very cautious about the usage of internet. Not to say that we're going to block anybody, but just to make you understand that the protocols need to be followed. There are certain ethics, rules, and regulations which have to be clearly demarked so that you are able to conform to them. Now, if you're not doing it, then automatically the internet gets corrupted, not just by you, but by those millions of users who deviate from the norms, and they create an unnecessary framework or a system across through which the entire thing gets completely corrupted. So we do not want to break the rules. We do not want to break the protocol. That's why we have a regulatory framework that guides you across, tells you which websites to open, how you need to manage your system, how you need to manage those cookies, your passwords, emails. Everything comes under this governance factor. Followed by which the internet governance, as we are talking about the technical standards, the access, privacy, multi-stakeholder model, the various aspects of global sector, and also we are talking about from the private sector, the civil society, the governance all together. Now, whenever you're talking about organizations today, specifically private organizations, corporates, they have a lot of internet usage policy. This is for the benefit of the employees as well as the organization, restricting their employees from unnecessary usage of internet, getting into unwanted websites, or doing unwanted transaction over the company's internet bandwidth. Now, this is very good. Why? Because it should not harm the business. At the same time, it should not, reduce the productivity of the employee. The purpose of internet inside an organization is purely for business purpose and for learning purpose. But if you're going to misuse the internet for any other reasons, then that's going to land up into a severe problem. So it is always advised that you use it for some good purpose through which you are able to govern, you are able to run it as per your needs. Now, key organizations, you have the Internet Corporation of Assigned Names and Numbers, the ICANN, which governs the entire factor that manages the DNS and thing. Internet Engineering Task Force, a very, very important team that develops and publishes internet standards and protocols, ensuring the technical aspects. So the IETF is a very, very big task force that we are going to talk about. Followed by which we are going to come into the World Wide Web Consortium. It's very, very important for you to understand why, because the World Consortium manages standards like the HTML, CSS, and all those things. Then you have the Internet Governance Forum, which is a global forum discussing the governance issues and policies. It promotes an open, inclusive, and collaborative approach of governance. So this is very much needed for all of us to follow and take it out. This is where you are going to see how the internet governance is coming in picture. Now, the internet policies, content, human rights, global internet access, internet dispute resolution, national and regional governance initiative are very, very important. They are the critical part of internet governance. People might think that internet is all about accessing the World Wide Web, but definitely not, because it involves a lot of critical factors, and there are many areas where people misuse or they create an obstacle for other people to do it. So let's not get into it. Let's not create an obstacle for others. Let's follow the internet rules and try to make the internet a global place where everybody can learn and everybody can make the best use of it. Now, internet society, that's what we have been talking about. Advocacy of open internet, a technical expertise that is coming in, promotion of internet access, internet governance, which is very, very important today. Now, we have a society called as the ISOC, the Internet Society, which is a global non-profit organization. It's there in Reston, Virginia, United States, which is actually trying to advocate the policies of internet, trying to make this world a better place to live in, trying to give the people a better internet access through which they can learn the standards and use it for the best purpose. So you have the safety, you have the community building, the capacity that's coming into factor, and then the Internet Hall of Fame, events and conferences. So all these things are very, very interesting. Why? Because internet itself is a subject of so much of importance, and there's a lot of things to learn. So if you're more interested about the governance, the standard, how does exactly internet work, probably you can go into these websites, try to attend their conferences which happen online. You can even publish papers, you can read those seminar articles. That would be of a great use and a great learning to you also. Now, regulation of cyberspace, that's what we are talking about. The cyber security regulation, intellectual property laws, and the content regulation, which becomes very, very important for all of us, because these days, as we are talking about net neutrality, we're talking about electronic transparency and governance, the jurisdiction of legal issues, governance, surveillance, and policies, encryption policies, internet governance, and the digital ethics, which are playing a very big role. Followed by which we also have the most important thing, as we were talking yesterday, the rules of that which we are talking: confidentiality, integrity, availability, authentication, and authorization. This concept is the key concept of cybersecurity. So whenever you're going to learn cybersecurity, you have to keep all these factors in your mind. Now, the firewalls, intrusion detection, antivirus, encryption, patch management, security awareness, policies, and the procedures. Then we're going to talk about the secure software development. All these things are very important. Plus, the issues like cyber attacks, which have been happening day in and day out, data breaches, privacy concerns. We're talking about phishing, where we are getting into the social engineering, taking somebody's content out of the emails, ransomware, and advanced persistent threats. These are very, very important for each one of us to understand. IoT security, supply chain, insider threats, when we're talking about lack of security awareness, cryptocurrency, cybercrime, scarcity of cybersecurity talent, that's also, which is quite a matter of importance in India, as we are talking about, because we are not getting enough talent to support this, and evolving attack that is going on. All these things needs to be looked into as a cybersecurity issue. Followed by the challenges. Some of the key challenges is the constant evolvement of threat that's coming over the landscape, shortage of skilled professional, and complexity of the IT environments that are coming into picture. And the insider threats, the zero-day vulnerabilities, the supply chain attacks that are coming in, lack of cybersecurity investment, and now with machine learning and AI coming into cybersecurity, this becomes even more complicated. Why? Because we need to evolve security from all levels as far as possible. With that, I come to the end of this particular session. I hope and believe that all the concepts that I've spoken here will be of great use to you, both in terms of theory and in practical walk of life. In the upcoming sessions, we would be talking more on the regulatory frameworks, the ransomware, and the other aspects of cybersecurity. Until then, stay tuned, stay blessed. You have a great day ahead. Thank you for joining me again on this wonderful session.